Texas Prison Story family salute, y'all. It's your boy Tim Snow. We're back here with another one. Appreciate everybody tapping in. We have a special one tonight, y'all. This is gonna be a good one. This man here has a hell of a story to tell. Real veteran. He did a lot of time on a big number, serious crime, and he's also one of the top subscribers, supporters on this channel. Man, he's been tapping in for some years, and I'm just glad to have him here. Everybody hit the thumbs up. Enjoy the show tonight, and we're going to go ahead and get to the story.
Hey,
Mr. Big
hey,
B,
what's
salute, my
happening?
man. Welcome to the channel. I sure appreciate it. This is a
Oh
real
man, I
honor.
appreciate you.
Thank you, thank you. I think this one's going to surprise some people tonight, right? They like Ferguson Unit. It gets a lot of talk on YouTube and all that, but there's very few people that really talk about it. You know what I mean? And uh, can you tell the people real quick what happened? What I mean, you got to get in detail, but what type of case and sentence you got and how old you were?
Oh yeah, I was 23 and in the commission of a drug deal here in Houston. Uh, Fella went for his gun, I went for mine, and I was a little faster, and ended up getting a murder case out of it. Lucky I didn't get a capital murder case out of it, but didn't have a background to support that kind of thing. And so, yeah, I ended up in county jail and got the time and went to TDC.
Yeah, so that's hey, listen for the people
I was in
watching.
the county for oh
No,
yeah,
I
I
was
was
just
in the
gonna say,
county for a year, and so went to TDC around 1991.
you were in Harris County, 1991.
I was in Harris County all of 1990,
So I've been to Harris County, but not back then.
bro.
What was it like back
That's
then?
before they. That yeah, it was crowded. In fact, when we're talking Ferguson, I'll get back to it. But uh, I was in a tank. There was only 8 Americans in that tank. There was
Hey, turn the
there was
earbud,
70.
B. Turn that earbud
Oh,
again. It fucked your mic up. There you
oh,
go.
good,
There you go. Yep.
good. Yeah, it, there were 60 people in that tank, and there was only 8 Americans.
Where they
Like,
from? Mexican, South
like we,
America?
yeah,
Shit.
yeah. The place was crowded. People sleeping on the floors. I was lucky. I was in a corner tank, so it was like a dorm. But them folks who were in the inside tanks, man, shit, yeah.
Yeah, I remember going to Harris County.
Their
They
laws are
was,
whooping folks and shit. They
yeah.
throw a blanket over your ass. You was a SSI. They whoop the hell out of you. All kinds of
It don't sound like it changed one bit. If you want to know the truth,
shit. It
ain't
was
that
fun.
crazy?
I mean, we made alcohol, shot dice, and did all that. So
Yeah, I bet you do your time, right? What? How much did they give you for the murder case? How much time?
the the first one, the first sentence was 45, and then uh, they granted my motion for a new trial, threw everything out. The case was jacked up, but I needed what I got. Excuse me. And so they came back with a 30-year plea bargain, and I was like, 7.5. I've already done it, thinking I'm gonna make first parole. Yeah. I'll 7.5. 30. I signed, and that got me on the Bluebird.
Hey, back then was it straight to the bird unit diagnostics?
No, no, I went to Go Re first.
No shit.
Yeah,
And
right there off the highway. I went to Go Re. I was at Go Re for about 2 weeks. That was where I went through. I guess they were classifying us, you know, to see what unit you went to. Because, of course, I was 23, man. Everybody, all the old hands that I knew in the county that I'd met and everything, they were like, man, you'll never go to Ferguson. They ain't nothing but, gladiators, youngsters. You're too old, even at 23, and yeah, they were dead wrong.
so when you left Goree, is that where they sent you to over there, Ferguson
Yeah,
first?
yeah, straight from Go Reach to Ferguson. And
What was that bus ride over there like? Was people saying, "Man, I don't feel like I don't want to go over here," or what were they talking
but
about? Or were you the only
you
one
know, if you
going?
no, there was a whole bus full of folks because they had to go to Ferguson and East Ham, and they ran that whole circuit around the Trinity River right there, and
That's what I
so
figured.
dropping folks off. And of course, I ain't been out. I mean, I was in the county a year, and then a bus ride to go and then a bus ride. So I'm trying to see the world. I'm
Hmm.
so the bus ride wasn't shit. It was really fast. It's when I got to Ferguson to the back gate that reality came, you know, crashing in.
So listen, that is especially at that time for the youngsters. You already know it was the wildest place to go. It
Yeah,
had a reputation. Ferguson even had a reputation in the streets. Like everybody
yeah.
knew about it. You know what I'm saying? What's running through your head when you get to that back gate?
Well, at that time, Ferguson was turning out anywhere between 1,500 and 2,000 people to the field every day.
Mm.
So, they, I mean, they'd have wagon after wagon after wagon, folks riding on it and dragging them out there to work, right? So when I got there, I, I can't remember exactly. I just remember it was hot, you know. Beginning of summer, probably. I could look back and find the date, but the fields were coming in. Well, at Ferguson, they'd run you through that back gate, and you'd get naked and throw all your clothes in the buggy so you could take it to laundry, and then you'd have to stand out there naked, waiting to get in the shower. So you got this huge ass back dock with about 800 folks, butt ass naked, and just across the way is where all the steam connections come out for the kitchen. Because the laundry and the kitchen's on that left hand side as you're coming through the gate. Well, that's where they hooked them slop wagons up, and they're over there cooking in the heat, and they've been cooking over there for about 30 years, so it stinks like you can't
Mm.
imagine. So you got 800,000 naked folks. I mean, stinking. They just come out the field. You got the all this over here going. So they take us in a door. There's a door you come in, and the commissary is right there, and you can turn and hit that first chow hall, right? But Ferguson had that long hall, right? Well, the first time I walked in there, I was like, the noise. It was like I called it a human beehive. It
Mm.
never stopped. You get used to it and not hear it no more. But the first time I was there, I distinctly remember the noise, just a roar that never stopped. And then they took us to classification, which was the opposite end of the housing, the housing wings, and law library and vocation library and school and everything's down, you know, to the left. And that's where we went to classification and found out, well, we was, yeah,
How
but
many of
coming
y'all
in the
got
back
there?
gate,
How many came with
I
you?
want to, I want to say there were six of us, 6 or 8, and there was two white, me and another guy were white, and bro, everybody that came with me was just as bewildered as I was. I ain't never seen nothing like that on that back dock. I don't care who you were. I mean, it looked
Mm.
like something out of National Geographic, man. Oh, it's the craziest thing I ever seen.
Man, so you know what? That always, I think, first prison, first scary one too. You walk up to see something like that. I can see
Yes.
all these years later, you ain't forgot it one little lick, have you?
Not one bit. I can remember it, and that ain't talking about the field laws. The way they talking to you. Get
Yeah.
your, I can't even say on YouTube what they is telling.
Oh, we already know. So check it out though. So they classify you, I guess, UCC or whatever it's
So
called
I
nowadays.
I go to classification. This is my next reality. You know, slap to reality. An old white man was classifying me, and he said, "Have you got a pencil?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Well, take it and keep it close. And the first person that comes to you, you stick the shit out of." And I was
God
like,
damn.
"What?" So this free world man is telling me when you get down on the wing, stick shit out of somebody. So
And he's serious too, huh?
no, it wasn't no joke. It's not a joke. And so there had been some altercation or something. So G Block was locked down. Uh, Everything from G Block down was locked down. So all closed medium custody was locked down. So I went to H Block, and I was on H Wing for a couple of days, and they turned me out to the medical squad because I'm all broke up, and it didn't take them long going out there like this boy here can't do this, because all my joints is jacked up. So they got me scheduled to go on the medical chain to go to John Seeley, but that was going to take 30 days. So they moved me off of H, and they gave me where they put me? Shit. 'Cause I went to L Block, and I was trying to remember but anyway, I went to L Block.
Well, I wanted to ask you though. Listen, when you come in after classification, you get to H Block. I remember specifically how it felt when I was standing in front of that door and that law had that key, and I could see them inmates in there, not knowing even one of them. Right, all these fools looking crazy as hell. When they opened that door and let you in, you probably had to wait for in and out or something, just like I did. Did you have to stand there and just stand there and wait and look at everybody and people looking at you? How did it go? Like literally coming through that
No,
door
I
and then
put my stuff down under the stairs and went in the day room.
oh, they let
But
you
there
in.
wasn't, yeah, there had been some stuff happening, man. So there wasn't but about 25, 30 people on H. They were moving things around, and not long after that is when they moved everybody to all the new units. So they moved all the closed custody and medium custody in the middle of the night to the new units, where they could segregate it more
Right,
and lock
right.
it down by building or whatever they were thinking. And I didn't know that at the time, man. I'm just trying to figure out what's going on. But so when I got on L, that's where the trouble started. That's where,
So
yeah.
when
So I
so
made
let's
it. I made it a couple of days without any crap. But yeah, L Block. That's where it started.
I want to ask you a question, right? Because Ferguson gets a lot of talk about on YouTube. People talk about it and everything like this. Uh, do you think you coming in with a murder case, was you assuming? So two questions, okay? You coming in with a murder case, are you assuming people gonna hear that and maybe leave you alone? And then did people even care about you having a murder case there?
They didn't care. They didn't. They didn't care. You're gonna get checked somewhere somehow, and it might not have been that first day, but somewhere somehow you're gonna get checked, and you either gonna pay protection or you gonna fight. One of the two.
Right.
And the,
So
and the woods ain't gonna. The woods won't see what you gonna do. So they ain't gonna do shit.
right. I got a shout out to my neighbor, CEO Hockley. He did a video about that. Man, listen, Big B. He did a video about that, and people, the white people on my channel was pissed off about it. They said he was sounding racist. He was all this and every that, but he was just really telling how it went back then, right? He didn't make the rules. He was just there doing what everybody else does. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
tell him what you just said though. So when you say check in the woods, want to see what you gonna do first, like explain that because
Well,
people ain't used to that,
you
especially from out
already.
of state.
You already. Man, you're only. when you say, you know, there's only about 10%, maybe 8% other white folks, Asians, everybody else is black and Hispanic. And so they're not going to put their neck out for you when you're going to get a man with the first slap, you know? Why are they going to get in that drama? And you go, man, I seen a dude one time on the chain. I'd already peeped with the other white dude, and the dude was jamming him up about his watch. And if he'd have fought, we would have fought with him. But that dude slapped him, and he put his hand up like bitch. Well, man, I can't. you know,
Yeah, no,
I'm a major minority, man. I'm not fixing to kick something off behind some hoe.
right, right. So basically, what he's saying, and we've said it before, they're gonna let you see if you handle yourself first. And if you don't handle yourself first, guess what? Anybody can have you. They might take you and make you pay. The blacks might make you take you pay. The Mexicans might take you pay. And back then, look, just like CEO said, the blacks and Mexicans were taking turns on who gets them. The next
Yeah,
one that
no,
won't
no,
fight
they
back.
did. That's right. They did. They would. The shot callers would say, it's your turn or whatever. I don't know what they was telling each other, but I know when you get, I know everybody's watching. The inmates, the laws, because the laws don't want you snitching on them, so they want to see what you're gonna do too,
Right.
and they instigate shit
Yep.
just to
Of
see what
course.
you. Because when it went down with me, I'd already remember I told you in the county there's only 8 Americans, right? So I'm going to I'm going to supper that night, and since I'm on the end of the hall, this guy was locked up in the county with a black dude. He's locked up on K wing, I think. One of them is a punk wing, so if I call the number right, nobody out. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
K was like kitchen and L. They were at, so he was coming back. He saw me. Hey, guy. Well, everybody in the hallways moving, and they see me and him talking, right? Well, me and him fought back to back in the county against behind a dice game. We fought
Mm.
everybody in the tank. All the Americans was fighting against
Everybody
all
else.
these people. Yeah, brother. So I done chewed dirt with this dude. So I don't. He told whoever, and they did whatever. Whoever saw whatever. But I never had any problems out of blacks. None, other than my, you know, getting sideways with somebody, personal. That
Right.
and yeah, mine was with the Mexicans, and for all I know, it was just my turn.
Right. Right.
you know,
Right. No, but
but
bullshit. So
they
let
were checking their own too, brother. I mean, everybody got checked. It wasn't
they wasn't discriminating, right? No,
unless
I know.
that's right. Unless you already known you was gonna get tried, because
So
somebody wants some
kryptonite.
ice
Listen,
cream. That shit was hot as a motherfucker down there.
man, he had everybody in an uproar, I guess, right? Because I specifically asked him about that and the white dudes and shit, and he forgot to say, like, he even told me later, I forgot to talk about we was doing the same stuff to the black dudes too. It wasn't just the white people, right? You know what I'm saying? So, but it
Yeah,
was
it
just on
was.
my
It was.
brain, so I asked him like that, kind of set him up for the fall. Shout out to my boy
Well,
Kryptonite.
but to give you an example, I got rolled back down to H. I
Man,
can't
it
remember what
sounds
I
it sound
did.
whenever whatever you just did keeps fucking up the mic. I don't know what it is.
I'm sorry. How about that?
There you go. Yeah.
Okay, I'll quit touching. Anyway, I got rolled back down to H. I can't remember what. Wait. Anyway, I did something stupid and got rolled back down down to H. And of course, there was some. I didn't know at the time, but there's some white knights in there and all that, and they had a bench in the back. I ain't just gonna run in and sit down. I need to see what's happening for a few days before I, you know. Well, like day two, I guess they got word, and they said you come over here and sit with us. And I told them, I said, well, why didn't you let me sit with you when I come home? Well, we want to see what you was gonna do. I said, why didn't you try me?
No shit.
So I didn't sit with them, man. Whatever, man. You know, I
Yeah, but
and
listen. So hold on,
I
hold on. Let
met
me ask you this.
there.
So when a man doesn't sit with them and he's white over there in the day room, where do you sit? Is there another spot for just the non-affiliate woods over there, or do they got their
yeah,
own
yeah,
bench?
yeah. I mean, you then unless the day room was packed. Day room was packed, your ass just gonna stand up, you
All
know.
right.
But
Yeah.
usually, especially on like L and the the medium custody of Ferguson, you could sit on the back two benches, and not have no shit.
Right. The
But
furthest from the TV, you can sit
yeah,
there. Yeah.
well, you couldn't hear nothing anyway. They wasn't watching nothing worth shit.
Hey, I tried to explain that to people. How do you like to watch two two metal TVs. I mean, two TVs inside of metal boxes that aren't. You can't hear them. You lucky if closed captions on. You probably can't sit close enough to see closed caption. Like you're literally in the day room, and then guess what? I don't see very good far away. Our bench was in the back, and that shit was useless to me. I'm basically trying to watch a game and don't know what the fuck is going on.
Yeah,
So for real.
yeah,
So look, you said when you went to L, that's when they tried to check you. Like, did they come with some sneaky
yeah.
shit? Is it outright in front of everybody? What did they do?
So, well, it's right there in the day room. Like I said, everybody wants to see what you're gonna do, you know. So I'm standing on the bars, and man, I'm I'm green. I know what's happening, but I don't know what's happening, you know. And so the SA calls me over there towards the TV, like between the first bench and the second bench. The TV's right there, and benches is right here. Well, I got SAs behind me too now. I done walked up in the Venus flytrap. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Dumbass. So I walked up and he's in front of me and he says, who am I with? Who am I said, what? Who am I? And honestly, I thought he was talking about a game. And I'm like, bro, I don't know. You're going to get with somebody. And finally it drilled through my thick ass head that what he was trying to, he's trying to make me pay, make me ride. Right? And I said, man, go fuck you. Whatever I told him. But my demeanor changed. And when it did, homeboy on the back behind me got up and hit me in the head with a lock. Hit me right here. And damn near knocked me out. Damn near knocked. All I could see, I got tunnel vision. I could see that essay in front of me. And I just drove him to the wall. And I heard him when I smashed him up because I was about 280 pounds. And I ran him into the wall. I heard his ass grunt when I smashed him into that cinder block. And homeboy hit me again in the back, right on the shoulder. And then the guard hollered. My head's bleeding.
Yeah, for real.
He pulls me out. He said, what happened? I said, I fell down. And so he pulled me to the lieutenant's office, walked all the way down the hall, stood me on the wall, my head's bleeding, white all over my shirt. And lieutenant calls me in there. What happened down there? I said, I fell down. I told him, oh, so what happened? Oh, you fell down, huh? That's what happened down there? You know how they talk, man. Yeah. Rednecks.
So in reality, listen, they're hoping. Probably he was hoping you said fell down because he don't want to see you fail like that.
Or they gonna find out if I'm GSI, good source of information. Then they gonna believe me.
Right.
If I go to snitching, I'm gonna be across the hall on Punk Wing, and I'm gonna be snitching for him everywhere.
He's probably hoping you just keep it steady.
Yeah, it was all a game from every side, like a
mental game.
It never, yeah.
Yeah. So I said this before,
and that was it. After that,
check it out. I said this before though. It's mind games and mental games. You know what I'm saying? And boy, if you're not that sharp, and if you're not what you said, listen, when you said you was green as all get out, right? We've all been there. And the ones watching this that haven't been, you're gonna be the exact same way he's talking about. Let me tell you something. You're gonna walk into a building in a room full of men that never leave, and all they have time to do is think of shit. And when you first walk in, your very first day, first ever time, looks are deceiving. You're going to look around and you won't see nothing. You literally see nothing. And then as you get there, you realize how much shit is going on around you, what you dismissed. Oh, look at these motherfuckers over there. They just did that. He did this. And that's when you start really being like, and realizing where the fuck you're at and how much you didn't know. And then it takes a while to get there before people telling you secrets.
And how much trouble you'll get yourself into if you don't learn how ropes pretty quick.
That too. So look, when you come back though, what the Mexicans say? Did now the white guy say, "Hey, leave him the fuck alone," because he?
They didn't do no. I just stood. I went back against the wall. And I stood on that wall for a week, man.
I don't blame you.
But but I in that time I met some other white dudes, you know,
Yeah.
and started meeting different people. Some on the dorms, and then got sent on medical chain and got blessed. They got all when I went down there. That doctor said, "Well, what do you want?" I said, "Well,
What?
shit, I want it." He said, "You get special boots, bottom bunk, bottom row, lift restriction, standing restriction." He gave me everything.
Nice.
So
Yeah. Cool.
I couldn't do nothing but work in the air condition now.
Okay.
You know, not
Office
really, because
office
I
man.
worked in the dish room and all. Yeah, eventually that's where I ended up. You know, SSI clerk,
Yeah, we're fixing to
and
get to that too. So I didn't even tell him. Listen, we got an amazing story when we get a little bit past Ferguson with this guy. He's in a book. They got a book about this story and everything. So y'all probably never heard this, and we're gonna get into that in a minute. But I want to. Was that Ferguson when you say you was the kitchen in the kitchen and all that?
well, yeah, when I got rolled down to H, they put my ass in the kitchen, put me in the dish room, and I personally I liked it because you only had to take care of that little spot. You can talk shit,
Right.
people throw trays in there, you throw the tray back out. Everybody's
Yeah.
wild, man.
Yeah.
What are you gonna tell these folks when their parole officer ain't even been born yet? How you gonna
Facts.
reason with these people and their fucking parole officer ain't even been born yet?
No, that's
You
for
know?
real, man. People better
And
think
so
about
yeah,
what this man is telling you.
I
Right.
went yeah I worked in the kitchen and then I went to records conversion. They were getting you remember them things they used to pass out at the grocery store and you'd mark your shopping habits
Yeah.
and people would mail them in. They were bringing that shit over there about a box full, and we were typing that all in, and they was using us as labor to do this big ass databases to sell back to these advertising companies.
So that's what they was doing. Really, they had y'all
Yeah,
doing all the work.
yeah, we were done keying. Well, that was one of the only air conditioned jobs, unless you worked in the school or something, law library on Ferguson.
So we
Man,
always
shit,
talk
that was
about those.
gravy.
We've always talked about the prisons making money off the inmates. There, look, he's giving you a good example of that. I did one about uh, Eroy Brown, where he worked in a tire shop. They was working on all the local people's tractor tires and shit.
Yes.
They was making the boss man money with that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
We got stories about people doing crazy shit. Them taking
I
out
seen
work
some of
cars,
that at the
fixing
wind
people's
unit.
house. Yeah.
They
So
did some of that to win because transportation was over there.
what do you
So
think was
they
probably the
always had metal and stuff to put on their trucks and do different shit.
let me ask you something about Ferguson, and we're gonna get on to it. What do you think was probably the craziest shit you seen over there while you was over there? How long were you there? You were there for a few years, weren't you?
I was there till '93. I eventually I became the clerk for a guy named Tommy Starnes that was running a vocational lab for Wyndham down there. So they had like machine shop, welding, cooking, all trades. And so I worked for this fella, and that enabled me to have somebody that could help me with educational transfers. See, you gotta if you're gonna live in this system, you better know how to get yourself around. And
Yeah.
so I found out pretty quick the fastest way to get off this crazy son of a bitch that I call the hate factory. And it still to this day is probably a hate factory. I don't believe you can get the blood that's been spilled on that ground out of it.
Well,
I,
I wanted to ask you
I,
something before I forget, man. Listen, so this is what I did want to ask. How many guys while you were there and when you first got there that you seen was riding? They was paying them people.
Shit, it was hard to tell, man, because the essays are real private about theirs, and they'd have their own riding. And
Right.
so,
True.
I mean, they're real sick, and
I know. I know there's some over there doing it.
you gonna do something. You gonna contribute some way.
Right.
Uh,
Say the old saying, "Fuck fighter, bust a 50." Remember that?
I was just glad. I was just glad that they was leaving me alone, bro. I mean, really. Uh, when you're in that situation, man, you got some confidants and Confederates, but really you're on your own, man.
So you said something deep right there. You don't even realize. Listen, I get a lot of comments where people don't understand prison, right? They're like, how can guys be against sex offenders, but then don't stop other people from getting raped and all this other shit? Look what this man just said. Okay, this man just told y'all a couple things. Let me run them back. 23, 280 pounds, fighting when he comes in with a murder case. No coward, a real man, and he just felt just like I did. Just glad they ain't fucking with you, huh, man?
Yeah, man. And I can work my program because I learned really quick that this son bitch right up here I got inside this dome was the only goddamn thing that was gonna save me in that place.
Oh,
And
for
I
real.
outthought everybody that I could. And I didn't abuse them, brother. I just leave me alone. Let me work my program like AA. You know what I'm saying?
For
And
real,
so,
yeah. So
and
listen, how long did it
because
take
a
you
lot of
before you really started figuring out what your program was, though? Like, was you in there figuring out, looking around, be like, man,
uh,
I'm gonna stay out the way. I'm gonna get hustling. I'm gonna go
six
get this good
six
job.
months before I 6 months before I left Ferguson. I mean,
That's what.
up until 6 months before I left Ferguson, I was only capable enough to make me because I'm rebuilding myself, brother. I'm I'm reading and studying and doing things. I'm not playing dominoes and all that shit. You know, I'm I'm not entertaining myself with their distractions.
Right.
I'm educating myself. I was already a college man, an aviation major, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I would fly airplanes in my laying in my bunk, whatever. I would read, I would study, and I would try to make my moves so I get in a position where I could get off that.
Yeah. No. See, listen. So what you're saying, if anybody's family is watching this and y'all got family inside, pay attention to what he's saying because you. So two things I always recommend be to families. If you have the money, don't put yourself out there, but if you have the money and your inmate loved one is far away, send them the local newspaper if you have one, so he
Yeah,
can read and stay in touch with the free world. Stay at home,
yeah. I don't know
and
how they
then
do it now. Will they
yeah,
email it to them now?
nah, they so ours. Oh no, I think they can still get publications. They just can't get the handwritten letters, right? They can still, so they still get the
Yeah,
magazines and newspapers. So
bro. I used to terrorize the mailroom, man. I'd get them requests for information from like the engineering groups and stuff, and I'd
if
I'd,
send it
I'd
in.
send them out, and I'd just get bundles of mail. Yeah, just just to mess with them, you
That's
know.
hilarious. Oh, well, what I was gonna say, listen, if you can afford it and your loved one is on the other side of Texas, send them that local newspaper and tell them to read it. And or if you have one that's in the sports or whatever, check. And matter of fact, if you have an inmate that's getting abused, bullied, beat up, I can tell you what you do. Get them the Houston Chronicle, and then he'll be everybody's best friend because they're gonna want to read the paper every day and look at the sports section. That's all they
Thanks,
want. You know
sports,
what? They will not
sports.
run your loved one off of that wing under no circumstances if he gets that Houston Chronicle. You know
Yeah,
it?
that or USA Today or something. Yeah, you used to
Yeah.
USA
I used to,
Today and Houston Chronicle, boy. Yeah,
yeah. So hey, that's a cheap way to pay for protection. Hey, everybody can read my paper. Matter of fact, y'all read it before I do. I don't even give a damn. Go set it in the day room. You know what I mean? Shit like that. But try to get your oh and I say shit, local newspaper. So there's nothing else in there but magazines, newspapers, all this, and now they got the tablets now. Everything is crazy, but the why I say the local paper, especially if you live in a small town, because when you're inside, you're locked in this box around in this cage, treated like an animal. You lose touch with home. You lose touch with reality. You know what I mean? Especially
yeah,
especially back then when there was no phones, there was no nothing.
yeah.
So it's different. Maybe I'm too old school on that one. I don't know. Somebody said I'm old school, but check it out. It meant a lot back then to hear something from home. Especially, I'll tell you what else it did. When I was in the feds, there was only four of us from Galveston, and I would get the Galveston Daily News, and we were all on different wings. And man, we would get that thing from one down to another, and it gave us something to do too. Also, like Mission
Yeah,
Impossible,
yeah,
get these fucking
yeah.
papers down there,
Get it
going,
over there.
sneaking them in the chair, putting them under the table. Yeah, just doing shit like that. It was fun, you know what I mean. But anyway, Real shit. You know, you have to
And,
use your brain in there. It's a mental thing more than it's muscle, and it's a financial thing too, right? They see people that can make money. You can make money. Like you can't live in there if you're dumb. That's real facts, ain't it?
yeah, yeah,
You're gonna be a
it's pretty
crash dummy for
hard.
life. Yeah, you're gonna be a
Yeah,
crash dummy for life. That's
because
all. Yeah,
somebody's gonna put you in the mix as cannon fodder because you ain't smart
exactly.
enough to see the play.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
the wildest thing I ever saw on that unit is the Houston Blacks and Dallas Blacks went to fought on the rec yard, and they disassembled two weight benches and went to ride them. And they threw every canister of gas on the Ferguson unit. They had to go to Eastham to get some more gas. And they had a Lieutenant Reeves. He wore his hat crooked, right? And he came into the inner security perimeter. Because Ferguson, you got the gate, the fence, but you got an internal fence too. So you got a sections of the unit, and then there's another fence, barbed wire, all that. And he came into that inner security perimeter with a shotgun and
Oh
told them,
shit.
"Get up, one of y'all, please get up one more time," because they kept getting up. They'd lay down, and the laws come in there, and they jump up, and go fighting again. And so the ones outside would throw gas and gas the laws, and they had a packet blow up on them. They threw one of them packets, and it blew up right above them, blew everything. Yeah, it's
Damn.
wild,
Hey,
man. They
man.
gassed the whole end of the building because the building, them big fans sucked it in there. Folks was in the windows
Oh,
in the dorms trying to get out here. It looked,
yeah.
yeah, they were asphyxiating the shit out of people.
Ain't got nothing to do with it, huh? That's crazy.
Nothing.
Yeah. So, back then we always hear, especially some of my homies, boy, they're always talking about how they had the Houston versus Dallas issues back then with the black folks. You know, that was like happening everywhere on the system too, and a
Yeah,
lot of
it
that was
was.
happening from the Oilers, and back then Oilers and the Cowboys playing at the same time.
Yeah, they would talk. They would, man. Yeah, I've seen many a fight behind Dallas Cowboy game or you know something like that.
Yeah, it's the type of shit.
They had a white dude on Ferguson. His name was Rocky Flannery, a redheaded guy. He was a knockout artist, and somebody knew would always be jawing, because if they winning, they jawing. And Rocky would bring them some Tylenol packets, put them in their hand. What's for? I'm gonna do it. Hey, it's for your goddamn headache. And they'd go to bumping, he'd knock their ass out. Yeah, that was pretty
So,
funny.
so I've heard of that man from about 10 different people that been on Ferguson. He was really like
He's for
that.
real. He was for yeah. That's for real.
Man, I wonder what happened to him, man. Anybody ever know? If anybody
No, I
knows
don't.
him, Rocky from Ferguson, drop it in the
Yeah,
comments. I'd love to talk to
Rocky
him one
Flannery.
time.
His last name was Flannery. He had red hair.
Somebody will know him. Where was he from? Houston?
Irish.
I think so,
Uh,
huh?
I think he was.
I think so. I've
Yeah,
heard about him multiple times. So,
yeah. The Owen
man,
brothers was on there. I remember them. Richard Owens and his brother. Yeah,
yeah.
I mean just older name.
No, yeah. Oh, listen, that's how, man, this shit, especially when you're somewhere like that, when you're young, it makes an impact in your life that you never are gonna forget, right? Like, so you see people out here
Yeah.
and people that's never been wonder, why is this motherfucker a little bit weird, or why is he paranoid or whatever. It's because that shit doesn't come out of you. I don't care how hard you try.
Now it took many years, being out, probably five or so. I mean, somebody somebody close to me would ask me something, and the first thing that went through my mind was, "Bitch, why are you in my business?" And I had to train myself not to do that no more. You know,
Man, yeah,
because they coming
I
from a
was like
different
that
place.
too.
They coming from love, man. They not coming from where these other cats coming from.
Right, that's deep, bro. That's deep. I dealt with that too and never vocalized it or said that. You know what?
Yeah,
Straight
yeah,
like
man.
that. And somebody talking about Blind Fury in the comments. You know what? I'm gonna shout out Blind Fury because that's my homeboy, man. I know Blind Fury and I love that dude. That man is the truth. Shout out Blind Fury. But check this out. So we're gonna get into the shit about the book, right? Because I've
Okay.
only got small pieces of the story. Like you dropped comments and told me a little shit. You know what I'm saying? And uh, I kind of know what's going on, but I kind of don't, right? So tell them the name of the book that you're
Okay.
in.
Okay. So if anybody knows or older will know about a guy named Kevin Mitnick. He's dead now. He died in 23. Uh, he he was a premier hacker back in the day. Sun Microsystems, NEC. And in fact, on War Games, if anybody's seen that movie War Games back in the day, when they click the phone with the pop top, with the soda top,
Yeah, I
and get a
remember
free
War Games.
call.
Yeah,
Remember that? Okay,
yeah.
so they modeled that on Mitnick. And when the feds caught him, they wouldn't let him around any phones because they thought he was going to launch a nuclear bombs and shit.
What?
Right? So when he got out of the feds for hacking, they gagged him and wouldn't let him tell any of his stories. Right? And so he put out a call in 2004, 2005 about tell me your best hacks. Right? So I said, well, fuck. So I typed and sent it to him, and about 2 weeks later, I got a call from him and his publisher, and they want to know the whole story. And
We do
so
too.
so the book was a Art of Intrusion. It's a computer security book, and I made chapter 3 in it, and chapter 3 is Texas prison hack, and from 1996 to 98, sometime right in there, we were hacking out of the wind unit. Uh, had servers running and all kind of stuff. And I told them that story, so now I'm here to tell y'all.
So listen, this is what I didn't quite understand. I don't. So when you say you're hacking out of the prison, right? Are y'all hacking prison systems? Are y'all free world type stuff? What's really going on?
we we did both. We did both in order to get to where we ultimately got. Uh, of course, inner phone lines inside a unit are big security stuff, right? They usually know everything about what phone lines they have. Well, the wind unit at the farm shop, the central hub for all TDC farm shops was inside the wind unit in a house, right? By the back gate. You look at a sat shot, I don't know about today, but there's a house inside that unit, and that's where the farm shop is. Well, they had 8 outside lines they didn't know they had, right? And I'm
What?
gonna bits and pieces and tie it all together. So I've been wrapped up with computers my whole time because I could type, and so every job they had with type, I could type, and I got to the wind unit and worked in transportation in the part shop for a while, and worked with the guy upstairs. His name was Edward Engel. He's passed away now. Uh, we met there, and he eventually got sent outside as S2, and they were on the internet and doing everything out there in outside transportation. Well, when this cat ran off from the airport, and they didn't have a picture of him since it was like Shawshank Redemption. When you see homeboy go in, he looked like he was 18, and this dude's like 50 now, and he ran off. He committed suicide out in West Texas. Well, TDC freaked out, brought anybody that had a murder, attempted murder, 3G offense. You could only have a S2 restricted, and they rephotographed everybody. So that brought my boy back in, right? Well, they put him in the farm shop because he's a computer guy, and there were a couple other dudes in there that were real propeller heads, man. I mean, these dudes were, and come to find out, most of the farm shops around the system were the tech heads or the technology brains on each unit. We didn't find that out till later, and I'll tell you how. So the wardens and all of them would come to the farm shop if they wanted to know something about technology. So them cats could order whatever they wanted. They had a big DVD at that time, a CD replicator, because they at that time there were very few PCs. Now they had the old mainframe systems that they order food on and stuff inside the system, but there were very few computers that had outside access, uh, and most of them were dealt with the farm shop, right? They were getting more and more all the time with computer recovery and all that. But so they made copies of software and all this stuff, right? Well, about a month at this time, I've got the dream job on the wind unit, and that's a story in itself because I had gotten locked up in SEG because I had sent a bunch of stuff out that bullet manufacturers and firearm manufacturers. I had built this big database and I put it on a floppy and sent it to my homeboy who was an attorney. Well, something happened and they sent it back and the folks busted it open and looked at the disc and they come out to the transportation with the goon squad and threw me in a cell for 3 days with a butt naked mattress and no
Oh
pillow
yeah.
and didn't tell me what was going on. So they pulled me in, told me I'd never work behind a computer again, and put me in the showers and and I got to learn a lot of crazy stuff then. But I got SSI clerk. There were some moves made, funny stuff, but they put me back in the kitchen as a captain clerk, and well, it took me about 6 months to get everything, figure out how everything's going, and
So
everybody to
hold
figure
on,
out I
is
ain't
the
no
captain
snitch
clerk
for the
is the captain clerk like you're literally doing the ordering and what are you
everything. I
doing?
ordered all the food. I gave all the jobs in the kitchen. If you came in that kitchen and you was a child molester, I put you in the dish room. I cast you down with sodomites.
Yeah, for
I'd
real, huh?
I'd make you come. Well, everybody that worked in the dish room, bro. I ain't trying to be racist, but most of them were black, and they worked together. So it'd be a crew in the dish room, right? And most of the time it's all black or all Hispanic. They had to take care of their one little job, and they didn't give what was happening out here. And if I put anybody in there, especially some old, you know, child molester, they knew what time it was. So they'd beat and bang and raise hell. It was the loudest thing you ever heard. And eventually they'd come in there crying. Well, Captain, I can't take this. No more. Give me. And the
Yeah.
captain would, after they leave, he'd look at me and tell me that's enough. And I'd put them on a serving line or something. But eventually, the main cooks, the ODR cooks, the back dog guys, the commissary, and that'll become important later. I took care of them. You know, I had all I had to do is tell Sergeant open his cooler, and I took what I wanted. I ran network cable all over the kitchen. Open
What? Are
his
you
cooler,
serious?
brother. I traded a case of Kool-Aid for 1,000-foot spool of network cable, Ethernet cable, and I patched them all and wired the captain's office to the commissary. So we had a network in the kitchen, and but I took care of them dudes. My back dock, they the muscle. Every unit you go to, cats on the back dock, you don't mess with them. They'll tell you, you know. And these are all old cats. One guy's name was Freeney from Dallas. Fastest dude I ever seen in my life, man. And well, they eventually they get my homeboy in and out from the farm shop to eat in the ODR with me, right? I'm hooking my boy up, right? Well, he's down there doing his thing, and I get him in there to eat one day, and he looks at me across that two-man table. We're in the back, and he said, "B, I know how we can do it." And I said, "Do what?" He said, "Get out." I said, "Man, I don't want." What are you talking about? I ain't trying to escape. And he said, "No, get on the internet like we were on outside transportation." Well, come to find out, they he had found 8 outside lines, like I said, in the farm shop, and they hooked them up to the servers. And he also had inter unit lines that aren't monitored, right? So we have both. Somehow they got their hands on a 4-port modem, and so we had two outside lines coming in there and two inter unit lines coming into that server. Now, the guys got the propeller head, and I didn't ever tell this in the book because, as far as I knew, those fellows were still working and doing their thing, and it wouldn't take long for somebody to figure out who I was talking about.
Right,
Now,
right.
one of them's
Don't do
probably
that.
dead now. He's legitimately old enough. He's dead now, and the other one is probably be my age, and he's probably not there anymore. So what they did back in the day, you get your antivirus program. The internet wasn't like what we have today. Everything didn't check in and all that. So they bought an enterprise edition of Norton antivirus, right? Put on all the farm shop machines. And so they got it there. Well, these dudes cracked it, right? At that time, that was a big thing. Cracking, if you remember the MP3 days
Hell
and the
yeah, I do.
videos and all.
Cracking the
Okay,
programs
so
and shit. Hell yeah.
yeah. So they cracked this some bitch, and they put back orifice. It was a hacker group called Two Cows, and they had some tools called back orifice, silk rope, and butt trumpet. And so they wrapped it up into this package, made copies, and sent it to all the farm shops.
How
Right?
were they? I mean, were they doing it through the mail? Could you mail
Yeah.
shit like that?
Well, you had inter-unit mail,
Right. Oh yeah.
so you didn't just have regular mail. You had inter-unit mail. So whatever they needed to send to a farm shop, there was a truck going. They,
It's going on a chain bus probably.
yeah. So,
Yeah.
oh yeah, no shit.
Yeah.
So they do this because at this time we're hijacking people's like internet accounts.
Let me get something
We're
clear with
using,
you real quick. Hold on. So while
yeah,
all this is going on, the goddamn guards are dumb as fuck needing to come to y'all
they
for
don't know
IT
shit, bro.
information too, right?
They don't know shit, brother.
Yeah, yeah.
They
That's
think
what I wanted to make this clear.
when I used to get my homeboy in, one of the night sergeants used to make jokes like me and that boy was doing something, fucking. I tell him, I said, I'm fucking, but it ain't like what you thinking,
Yeah, for
you
real,
know.
huh?
And I don't ask you about your business, don't ask mine, man. I ain't tearing up nothing. That's exactly what I tell them.
Straight up.
And so they wrapped that up and sent it out to the units, and we knew we would get some information, right? Because what this does is install on their machine the database, the antivirus database has been modified not to recognize these tools. So they get the antivirus program and it works like a champ. But they also get a package.
Right.
They
Put
get
in
a
there with
they
them.
get a remote client, and they get another piece called butt trumpet, which as soon as they go online and they're logged into their ISP, it'll send me their IP address and their password information. We got a keylogger, right? So we
Mm-hmm.
capture everything. Anyway, well, they build network maps, so they're tracking what this is infecting at the farm shop. Well, come to find out, it's just a CD, bro. It shows up at the unit. The farm shops and tech guys, right? Ain't nobody gonna know. TDC bought an enterprise level edition. Man,
Right.
you can do run as much as you want. Well, it ended up going on wardens' PCs, assistant wardens. It was like
Oh
a
man.
flower. Wherever they sent it to a unit, it would be like a flower. It would just branch out. It'd be
But that's
10 or
why they
20
call them
computers.
viruses, because they spread
Yeah,
like that. Yeah.
yeah. It was just them. They got free antivirus. TDC paid for it. I work for TDC. You know what I'm saying? They had no clue. So they started getting credit card numbers and all kinds of crap, everything.
So
And
let me
and
ask you this though.
so
Hold on the inside stuff. Were y'all able to go in there and like really tamper with cases, drop cases, get people
no,
out shit, no
no,
shit like that?
no, no,
No.
no, no, no. Now we did have a guy that was called Doc. His last name was Staggs, and he did legal work when we were all online. So he'd be shepherdizing shit and doing writing briefs
It's
and,
crazy.
and
Yeah.
stuff for other inmates. But he's on the internet doing it. We're over there playing games or talking to chicks on YouTube,
Uh,
ICQ or something. Back in the
I used to have
or go.
ICQ.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, we were just having fun and learning. And I said, man, ain't nobody gonna put a cap on what I learned. And so it wasn't long. I traded the Kool-Aid. I traded the Kool-Aid for the Cat 5 cables and different stuff. They brought that from in the maintenance wagon, rolled it up there. Here you go. I traded some food for a window unit and got a work order. And they come in and bust a hole in the wall and put the window unit in the commissary office so I could keep the computers cool.
Oh man,
The captain signed off on it. Here you go. So now
that's
we got an air conditioned office with 4 PCs in it. We're crammed in there like we're right next to each other. One, two, three, four. And we're all doing our own thing. We're all networked in there. And what we're doing, and I got my PC in a, because in them old units, the captain's office sat up off the floor. So you could see the cook floor and the prep area. The
right.
captain could sit up there and see everything, right? But
Yeah,
not the
laundry,
gone.
laundry be the same way. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I had my desk built, so my monitor was down in it. So I'm working the keyboard, I'm looking down, so you can't see what the fuck I'm doing.
And all this time, are
I,
y'all supposed to be doing data entry shit and all
no,
this?
no,
Or what?
just a regular clerk work, which we did. Didn't take long. Yeah, and then the rest of the time, man, for almost a year, I may have slept in my cell. I'd turn in at 10:30, and I'd get back up and go to the kitchen. So I was in the kitchen. I showered in the kitchen and everything. I had clothes brought into ODR. I didn't have to go back to the block.
Okay,
And
okay.
so,
See, people don't listen. People that are watching this that's never been, they're not gonna comprehend. But we've talked about this before. Like, so the benefit of being an inmate with the brain is putting yourself in a position to do this type of stuff. You know what I mean? This is why people who are like got any sense don't agitate and aggravate and mess with the
yeah,
police. It's better to be cool with them. You know what I'm saying? Do shit.
but the first thing in my brain I learned is I didn't need to be in that son of a bitch no more. And this ain't the place to be. And to this day, that ain't the place to be.
No, it's not. It's not.
Why be lazy when you can learn today and not have to go through that shit?
B, look at the shit you're telling me right now. Listen, y'all had a fucking master plan, executed it with people watching you in a place you're not supposed to be. None of y'all was supposed to be in there. Y'all all wasted goddamn time. You got a 30-year sentence. Ain't that's frustrating as fuck though, isn't it? When you realize, hey
Yeah.
man, I'm not like you're in a place where these people can barely fucking read. They're like functionally illiterate and all this shit, and you're in here hooking up Cat 5 cables and hacking
Well,
shit. It just don't add up.
I mean, the folks would give you school, man, and people would decide they didn't. I got no. It's destitute, man. That's what it does to people. It grinds you down to where, you know, and you're either going to say, man, I can't go out like this, or you're going to just, get mashed down by it. And I said, man, I'm not going out like this, man. I'm going to taste this world again. What I what I disregarded before. I want to taste it because now I never thought I'd see 30. So every day past 30 it tastes like sugar to me. When I can go to the refrigerator and get me a glass of milk in the middle of the night. Or if I want to, get up and go to McDonald's and get me a McFlurry. You ain't fixing
Nah,
to do
for
that
real.
shit if you go to TDC. You're going to be burning ass hot begging for a pint of ice cream.
So let me ask you about that real quick, cause I'm gonna get into some real shit now. I wanted to hear that story bad as fuck, but I want to hear from some old school convict type stuff, since some things that I've been reading and looking at.
Okay.
You just talked about it, right? Oh, back in them days, there wasn't no water coolers on every single run. There wasn't no. You might don't have that big fan and everything. Like
Yeah.
people
A
were
fan.
abs.
A fan.
Yeah,
You
that's what
had a
I'm
little
saying.
old fan you got on commissary. They didn't bring no fan in the day room. I saw
That's what I'm
ice
trying to say.
twice, and it had to be like, I think the heat index up in there was getting around 145, 150. I seen ice
Uh,
twice,
I don't remember ever seeing ice. If you want to know the truth, you got it two
and
times more than I remember.
yeah, I mean, and that was, you know,
You know, you remember you would only if you didn't work in the kitchen, the only cold water that you could drink was at Chow, right or wrong. In the summertime,
Yeah,
people will go to Chow just to get a drink of cold water.
yeah, man, that was a big day to go to commissary and get some sodas and some ice cream, man. Yeah,
So when you said the
that was
McFlurry, I was gonna say my favorite thing to do was go get that little thing of ice cream, give me a soda, put it
yeah,
in my bowl, and I'm gonna sit right there. And you know what? It was depressing on B because that's a almost a 200-man wing, and I swear there was only about 40 of us that ever even went to commissary. So
yeah,
you're now think about this, y'all. You talking about sitting in a room full of fucking crazy ass people that might do anything, have done everything. They're broke as fuck, and if you want to eat your root beer float or your Coke float or whatever, you better be willing to eat it in front of all these goddamn people. You're gonna have to. You know what I mean? Like it's.
yeah, and that's
Uh,
kind of high side, man.
I know, but guess what?
You
I'm
know,
sorry. I'm here too, dog, and
yeah,
I'm not broke. And I've been hustling and I've been doing this. I know it is, but what I'm
hey,
saying is, so
hey,
listen.
yeah,
That's what they're gonna say. Look at that motherfucker over there capping, always eating that ice. You know what I mean? They're gonna hate you for it. That's my point, right? You better
yeah,
understand that in a
yeah,
Texas prison, especially at that time, if you got a lot of mail, you was a fucking. They was like bitch ass
yeah,
fool getting all this
yeah,
goddamn mail. Thanks, he's somebody. If you go in the
yeah,
store constantly, look at this punk ass motherfucker. The family cares about him. You know what I mean? Like their families don't care about them. They shit like that is shit people got to think about. So what I'm saying is you can't even buy your fucking ice cream and soda and go eat it if you're a hoe.
no,
You know what I'm saying? You can't do it.
no,
Like you
you ain't
living in
gonna
a
have no
place.
money anyway. You gonna be buying a list somebody filled out for you.
True that. You're gonna be filling somebody else shit out, right?
Yeah, yeah. So that's what's happening there.
Yeah, that's
But
what I'm
yeah,
saying. So,
they, we eventually got all that network like that, so we could just come in and what we would do is dial up from the commissary. So we would RAS remote access into our Windows server in the farm shop on inter unit lines that aren't monitored,
oh,
and
so
we would
wherever the fuck you
join.
was at, you could get on it.
Yeah, well, we only had our computers in that room or in the captain's office.
Okay,
You see what I'm saying? You just run around. Hey, I'm on the internet. Cause
right.
you know, uh, so I
This
could
is like
join.
America Online. Did they have America Online back then? Was y'all able to get in them discs
Yeah.
and pop on there?
Well, well, the first my parents paid for us because I was fixing it. I mean, we at that time. If you use somebody's dial up and they dialed up somewhere else, sometimes they would get charged twice. This is in the early days of this dial up, and so uh, we were running the risk of getting caught of using somebody else's credentials. So
Uh,
eventually, my folks got me a Lufkin Communications internet account, so we
so you
didn't
had
have to
your
do
own
that no
fucking
more.
internet count too?
I had my own internet account. My folks paid for it because I told them, I said, I'm doing it. I don't give a shit. You can either make it safe or not. But this is what's going down, right? Because we're doing it. Anyway, and so now we got a full time account. We ain't got to jack nobody's stuff, nothing. But we're still getting everything from every time they come on. If we want to go see what Homeboy was doing, we could go pull his logs. They were doing that down there. Uh, so my network in the kitchen that we built joined their network. Now it's one network. So we could get in and out on that server, a remote
Right.
access server on a Windows server, and feed internet to all our computers. And so we did our
Goddamn.
thing. I don't know. One big thing was see how fast we could get kicked out of a bulletin board. Back then there wasn't a bunch of stuff like you're talking now. There would be like a Christian group or a porn group, and we would. The game was the algorithms on those bulletin board servers. If everybody sent you a message virtually at one time, you was up to no good, and it kick you off, right?
What?
So
Yeah.
yeah, so the game was to see how fast we could get kicked off. So we would go to, let's say, a Christian site. I'd go to a Christian site and watch them. They're posting and talking, and I'd find me a target, and I'd enter the room, and Satan has entered the room. and
Oh
I
shit.
would start typing like a Ebonics preacher. You sending hoes, cast down the bile, so just talking shit and try to get kicked out. We were just crazy, just having fun, man, learning.
So I was gonna ask you this. So you said you was already in college and everything like that. Did all four of y'all were pretty good with computers? Like all y'all pretty much knew what was going on, or was it one of y'all teaching each other or something?
Eddie learned all that on Olivetti in transportation. Eddie learned a lot of the basics. I'm gonna mess with this if it's falling
All right,
out. You got me?
all right, yeah,
It still work? Okay.
yeah.
He uh he learned on an old Olivetti they had in transportation that had a floppy drive. So he started learning the base of how operating systems work and all that with an Olivetti. I'd had some stuff in high school and then came back to it now. And so when I went to the Wind Unit, one of my jobs was at records conversion there, and they had a legit network with running Windows 3.1 and Fox Pro, and they were converting court records into digital for the
Oh
courts.
yeah,
So
yeah,
they would
yeah.
get court cases, and them sick bastards, man. To this day, it makes me want to throw up. These sick fuckers would take crime scene photos of naked women with their throat cut, shit, go home and jag off on
Oh crap!
them. That's what. Yeah, yeah,
I
bro.
believe it. I believe it.
That's
Sick
straight out of
bastards.
a crime scene photo, man. Made me want to throw up when I seen it. They rolled it up and getting it out so they can have a jackbook at the house.
Was y'all around the copy machine? Could y'all make copies of stuff?
I never, I yeah, I never made any copies. Printers, yeah, but no,
No, I'm just
I
saying.
never
So
was
what?
ready.
What they? Oh, okay. What they was doing in the feds? They had jack books, and
Oh yeah,
they would photocopy jack books because they took so years ago. You know, you could have them right in the feds
yeah.
too. When they took them, they're saying turn your mic. They're saying it's sounding bad. Turn your earbud again if you can. Let me
I'm
see.
sorry. How's that? How's that,
No,
y'all?
I didn't do it right there. Turn it a little bit more. You had it perfect. Probably just in the wrong
How's
spot.
that? How's that?
Man, man, they just gonna have to deal with it. I guess I can hear you. It's all right. Oh,
I don't know,
let's see.
later.
That sounds like that might be back right there.
All right.
Anyway,
Well, it's about to fall out, so I had to touch it.
yeah, 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 yeah. It's just it's like the microphone part gets covered when you turn it or something. I don't know what the fuck's going on. It's kind of quiet right now. It's all good, man. Listen, we just appreciate you being here. We got like
Shit,
325 people
I
watching
know,
right
man.
now.
I got stories out the wazoo about
B,
that,
it's real.
man. We
It's real
almost got
bad
busted.
right now. Hey,
Look,
take it out and put it back in. Take it out and put it back in.
how's that?
Try the other one. There you go.
How's that?
I, that's a little better right there. Yeah, that's cool. Oh, since when you was doing all
Man, I'm
this,
telling you about technology, and I can't get earbuds to work.
I know. Yeah, it's kind of bad right now. I don't know what the hell is going on. Listen, Wayne's saying if y'all hit 5 more likes, he's gonna donate 20 memberships. Y'all, can we run up
Hey,
5 thumbs up? Double tap the screen for me. Double tap the screen for me, Kyle. You crazy? Double tap the screen, hit the thumbs up, and 20 of y'all are getting ready to get blessed with the memberships. So that's cool.
I'll fix to
So,
take this thing out.
hey, if you just
Hang on.
disconnect to the Bluetooth, it'll probably be all right. Just off the phone, we'll probably be all right. I don't know. I
How's
can hear
that?
you. Yeah, you good right there.
How's that?
So, you good? Can you hear me? I don't know if you can hear me.
Oh, man.
So what you do? Listen, on the settings, you can go. You
All
can have
right.
your
Here we
Bluetooth and
go.
hear them, and then you can use the mic on the phone. But it don't matter. It's
How's
good.
that?
It's perfect. Perfect.
How's that? How's that? I'm sorry, y'all. I'll be
Now you
better
good.
next time.
You good.
Anyway,
So
where was we
so
at?
listen. I don't even know, but I wanted to tell these people something, right? This man, what he's telling y'all, this shit started in 1990, and he just recently got off of parole right now. How long you been off parole?
20 January 2020, I was gone.
So he spent 30 years of his life checking in with these people in prison, uh, basically doing his thing. You know what I mean? But let me tell you something. can so I don't even know how to express this, right? Like, no matter how much, tell me if you agree with this. No matter how good you're living in prison, it still sucks, right?
Man, in prison was just existence, a means to get to a different end that was way away from that place. That's where I got in my mind. I mean, I made things happen because I would focus on making it happen. And it wasn't on bullshit. It was on the world is passing me by and I need to be able to know what's happening when I hit the streets. I need to
So at
have
that
something in this
time,
bucket.
listen, B, that time that you were locked up through the 90s and through the 2000s and all that shit right there, that was the time where technology moved the fastest in life so far since we've been a human being. You know what I mean? Like, we literally went from tube type computers still kind of rocking in the
Yeah,
early 80s and shit to now smartphones and stuff, right? Like, it went that fast, man. This shit has went crazy. And
yeah,
I know, hold on, look, I know guys in the
yeah.
feds. When I came home, I was in the federal halfway house. There were cats that were coming home that did not know how to work a flip phone. You remember the flip phone? There's no
That,
nothing.
that
It's
was
just
that, that was one of the biggest shocks to me when I got out. I mean, I knew technology. I've been on the internet. I had the latest songs. They would ask me, "How the fuck did you get that?" I mean, I had the latest games. Everything, movies. I had it all. They were like, "How'd you get that?" I ain't don't ask no question. I ain't got to lie to you.
right
Anyway,
for real.
when I got out, I was not prepared to see everybody doing this.
Thank you, Wayne.
Everybody had a phone up next to their head, and it freaked me out.
No, for real. So it does. Like I'm saying, these guys had most of these men. None of these men that I met had a cell phone in prison, of course, or they would have known how to work the flip. So the young people watching and everybody right here, y'all remember the old flip. It just ascended in the numbers. And these dudes would bring me their flip and go, "Yo, Tim, how the hell does this work?" And I mean, a kid, a kid that's never seen this flip phone has grown up around a little technology would be able to figure that out. And I was watching grown men that couldn't get it. And that right there alone, if you're any type of analytical thinker, being around grown men who are actually intelligent, they've lived a life, but don't know what this flip phone is, that shit's crazy. And you have to literally see it and experience it because they're not kidding and they're not playing. And I wouldn't do shit. Of course, I'm not going to make fun of them or nothing. I'm going to sit down and show them, look, bro, dial the number, press
Yeah.
send. When you're done, press end and do it again. You know what I mean? So it was sad. So it's actually good, though, that you got to get online and all that type of shit. But in all reality, man, it still sucks. And this is not the life you want, right? And what
Yeah,
he's
it,
telling
it was
y'all
just a
is rare. Like, it's rare. He got himself into the position, though. So all of what you're telling me, though, everything was possible from having an education, from being able to type, and guess what? Having a murder case at the same
dude.
time. The man was
If
smart
they
with some street shit in him too. You know what I mean?
here's what was going to happen if they set me off again. I was fixing to get a math degree. I was fixing to get a bachelor of science in mathematics through correspondence. I'd already taken intro to microbiology from Indiana University. I'd already taken analytic geometry uh, from I think it was Indiana University too. I had a graphing calculator and all that. But I made roads with the education department so people would want to help me and proctor me, sit for my tests. Back
Right.
then, you had to take the test and mail it back.
Mm-hmm.
I was working. If they'd have set me off, they wasn't stopping this train, man. I was going to get a mathematics degree, and it wasn't hard. It wasn't easy for me. Math ain't. I took college algebra 3 times. You know how I passed it? I told myself on the Ferguson unit, "You ain't never been a punk to nothing. Why you being a punk to algebra?"
No, real talk. That's kind of how you got to do it. So let me ask you this though: were you in there learning and thinking about degrees and shit like that, preparing for life after prison, or was it just to keep you busy and just to learn something?
I will. To be honest with you, uh, my years at Ferguson, I learned the wrong way. Like I told you, my travel card said I was an Odinist. So I'm a white supremacist, man, and I learned a lot of things, but I hated myself into a corner where I couldn't blame nobody else but myself. And also, I would see these white dudes saying this and that, and they get a boy. You know, it doesn't make sense. It makes sense to me.
Uh,
So I started questioning my my environment and reaching out and reading and studying and and learning from older cats because some of the smartest dudes I ever met in my life were inside them walls, and that holds true today.
some of the most talented too. All kinds of people. There's some amazing people in there that just got defeated
Yes,
by drugs. If you want, it's drugs, man. Like the root problem to prison is usually drugs or perversion. You're either pervert in there or you were selling drugs, stealing something for drugs. You know what I mean? Like that's
yeah,
the anything else is kind of rare on a real high security prison. And so yeah, man, it's just you alone and everybody's talking about just wasted talent. It's a damn shame, wasted time. So when you actually make parole, how is parole treating a man with a murder case that's been down? Or is parole like hard on a man like
well,
that? Are they 1 foot in, one
let
foot out? Or are they letting him make it?
let's do the pro thing. So I knew I wasn't gonna get. I'd already got my second. Is that right? Yeah, I'd already got my second set off on the wind unit. So I knew the next time I came up, they wasn't letting anybody go home from the central unit. It's from the central region.
Right.
Because Texas has different parole regions. You got different commissioners in each region,
And they're
right?
all totally different, ain't they?
They're all different. They're all different, right? So I studied the boards and I found this guy, right, named Patty Burwell. He was down at Cuero in that region as a parole commissioner. And I said, I think I can reach this cat. So I got sent from the Wind Unit on educational transfer. Thank you, Mr. Tommy Starnes, who is now the Wyndham Wind Unit principal that I used to work for on the Ferguson unit. This man has helped me, proctored me and all that. And now I told him I need to go to Cuero. They'll let me go home from Cuero. He sends me to Cuero so I can take college classes at a different unit, at a different college on the Cuero unit. So I get there. Well, I'm there for a little while, and Eddie's there. Eddie goes home, so I'm there. I start writing all three parole board members in my region every 2 weeks, and
I
it
didn't
would
even know
be
you could do that.
yes, sir. And I wrote them what I was studying, what I was reading, how I was building networks in my head, all this stuff because I was reading, big books about TCP/IP networks and computer security and stuff. But I had such a background where I could do it in my head. I could visualize it like sports people do. Sports people do that. Shooters do that. They they work the process in their head
True.
even when they're not actually doing it. So I wrote them, and if I made a mistake on the page, I was methodical about it, brother. I ain't lying. I'm trying to go home. I had my folks get me this paper. It's called Levenger paper. It was a tablet. As soon as you touched the paper, you knew it was something different, right? It was a high cotton paper, very expensive. And
Right.
if I made a mistake on that page, there wasn't no white out there. I tore it up and I rewrote it. And I wrote all three voting members in my region for 8 months. Patty Burwell told my mother, I got more mail from him than my 6 kids combined.
Oh
He
hell.
said, he said, but if he did what they said he did, he ain't done enough time. So not only did I meet one commissioner, which is unheard of, most of the time you got to set off in the mail, that mail call. Now you've been here 10, 15 years, you think this is your final chance, and they send you a piece of folded up staple paper. It says, no, bitch, you got another year to 3 years with us.
Mm-hmm.
So what's that man's mind like, right? So I, I wrote myself into seeing not one commissioner, but two in the major's office on the Cuero unit. Patty Burwell brought Alvin Shaw, who was an ex DPS trooper, in there, and that man grilled me on my case. and said, why did they do this and why did they do that? And we talked, and I wrote myself out of that place.
So listen, man, that's crazy. I believe you. This is just one of the first times I've heard anybody say that because I didn't know it was possible. He's telling y'all something that nobody, I think, even knows possible. Do you think the letters, of course, directly made them come see you, but do you think they were skeptical about these letters? Like, this man got to be pulling a con on us. We got to go see for
Probably,
ourselves. Like,
probably at first, and then after, you know, 6 months, 8 months, you
yeah.
know, like
They got
clockwork.
curious, huh? They wanted to come see for themselves.
What's
They
up
couldn't
with this?
believe it.
Because I'm talking about shit that's cutting edge technology they're seeing on TV, and I'm talking about it. I'm learning it without a class, without a school, without a, you
Right.
know,
And they're wondering, yeah, they're impressed if you want. So at first they thought it was a scam, then they got impressed. If you want to know the truth, that's
probably.
what happened.
I
Goddamn right
would
they
too
did.
if some cat was writing me. I'm like, oh, yeah. But after about a couple of months, I'd start looking, and then, you know, it just seemed logical to me. Communicate what you need and what you want in a rational way and educated, and you can do for yourself. Don't get pressed. You might find yourself in a position like that in that penitentiary, man, but don't let it grind you where you ain't shit, because it's your decision not to be shit.
For real.
You're
Yeah.
the one that breaks weak and let them break you. And the only thing we all got is this what we got in between our ears to make it in this life. And if you turn that over to them people, you're gone. That's it. You'll keep coming back. You'll never stop. I watched it, saw it. And Ferguson was the worst. That's why I called it a hate factory. He probably had a 70, 80% resale rate. People got released from there and they buck wild and couldn't readjust.
No, yeah. I mean, like you said right there, look, it's hard when you get out, especially the worst of places you've been, because you are having to stay on the edge. You can't really trust people. You do have people scheming and plotting around you. The guards aren't no help. Can you talk about something real quick for me that I want for these
Yeah,
family
sure.
people that are watching? Can you tell them? So when you first get in and everything, tell them just how alone it really feels, man. When you realize this is just you. These white boys ain't helping yet. What's going on? I'm having to fight these Mexicans. Like, just tell them, like, seriously, this is a terrible feeling that I felt when I felt it. Did it feel the same way to you? Like, it's just a shock that I'm really here and I'm
Brother,
really by myself.
I'm sure I had some real dark times, and I long pushed them deep within me where I don't relive them. I could not have it there. You know, when I see somebody's throat cut in the day room, and the dude's got knives tattooed, taped in his hand, and he's like, the laws won't come in until the knives are down. He's got them taped in his hand. He's watching homeboy bleed out and going, nah, not yet, nah. And then he says, oh yeah, okay, about this time. He lays down. You know, I mean, it was just, you never knew, craziness upon craziness. And
I
so,
know.
yeah, I'm
To,
sure there was times, but
to
I
me
found
to
I
me I just
found
had
that.
a reality set in. I had a reality set in and it didn't take very long, right? Like, I don't know if it's the door slamming. I don't know if it's so I know what the first reality that set in for me. The first reality that set in for me, right, is I walked in that very first day room and we talked about this earlier, right? Recreation, you said y'all got it a lot back then. We
Yeah,
almost never got recreation. So listen, I'm walking in and I'm looking at black and Mexican men that are pale skinned. And it's not because they're light skinned people, it's because they haven't been outside.
in the
They're
sun. Yeah,
yeah, they're vitamin deficient. They look like a bunch of dying men because there was no more weights, none of that. So I think sitting in his room, especially next to a few of my homies that had life sentences and 99s and 40s and shit, I think that's so when I realized I'm going home and my friends ain't, like, when these dudes like really became my friends too, and I'm like, man, this dude's never going home. That's when reality kicked me in my ass, man. I don't know how to explain it.
there's a couple of older guys that I knew that were good dudes, man, and I'm sure they're dead now, and I'm sure they died there, and that disheartens me greatly, man. That, you know, because they were good guys, man. They were, and and it's across the board. It's no racial connotations with anybody on that. I met good people from all sides that I'm sad that they never have a chance that I got. You know.
I know it. I mean, man, listen. So we don't talk. I've never talked with anybody that's actually, or we've never discussed those old men you might see in prison, man, that been there forever, or it don't matter if they just got there. Listen, to be old in prison where everything you gotta walk to is far away, everything, nothing soft that you're sitting on, you're laying on a piece of shit mattress that's like a steel bunk, your medicine, they're gonna give you like the worst of the worst or whatever might just slightly help you. You know what I mean? You're not getting
Yeah,
no. Your back hurts. You ain't getting no pain pills. I'm sorry. You're like to be an old person. And here's
dude,
what's crazy though. B, look, these youngsters out here killing people and shooting people like they're not gonna be that old man in there one day, and they
man.
are.
Let me tell you something. I was because the farm at Ferguson, you know, you had a if I had a farm squad that would go. That's the first one I went to. It was either protection or medical that went and worked at the guard, right? And they grew greens and all that crap. I broke a wisp tooth on a rock that was in the greens in the chow. Broke it half off.
Uh,
I didn't see. I saw it took 3 days to see the dentist, dude. I was like, we could still smoke back then. I was
yeah.
shaking so bad, hurting so bad, you couldn't get no aspirin, nothing. All, and finally got in there. It took 3 days to get that tooth pulled out. And I was having hallucinations. My mind was telling me to dash people with hot water. Yeah, I was.
For real.
That shit hurt so bad. Yeah. Or
Nah,
drink
you was
hot
right.
sauce. Put hot sauce in your mouth because you got a cold so bad your sinuses are swelled up and you can't get no cold busters or nothing else. I put hot sauce in my mouth and swish it around, make my nose start running so I can blow it.
You know what they told me the other day? They don't even give cold. But listen, so we was cracking a
What?
joke. We was cracking a joke about TDC solves every problem with ibuprofen and cold busters. Now
Cold
you know
busters.
they make you now buy your cold busters on commissary, knowing
What?
everybody's indigent. All these indigent
Shit.
men can't even get a fucking runny nose medicine no more.
Man, we
Shit is
get a black
crazy.
bag, get a black bag of that jam, jar that green gunpowder coffee, and take about five of them damn cold busters and drink that coffee and listen to
I know it.
Mighty Metallica at the middle of the night
Yeah. That's,
on a
oh,
big box
non-aspirin.
realistic.
Hey, do you remember they called them non-aspirin?
Yeah.
That was the name. Non-aspirin. Can I need some non-aspirin? You know what I'm saying? That shit, man. Listen, this life we're laughing, we're joking because we're
Oh,
done with that. You know what I mean? Like that
yes.
was this man did a lot of time. Like it was a serious crime. Now we know you know. Hey, like you said, you were facing could have been a lot worse. So that 30
Yeah.
was everything for a reason. What'd you tell me earlier? Everything for a reason, and shit
For a
happens
reason.
when it's supposed to happen, right?
That's right. And I
So
got everything I deserved, man. I deserved to be there because I was ignorant.
And that's what's very important that you said that, cause me too. You know, and let me ask you this, Pete, and we're gonna close this soon, right? And so
Okay.
when we do
I go
close
all
this, don't
night.
yeah, look, when we close this, don't sign
I got
out.
to
I
tell
want
you,
to
don't let me get
still
off
want to
before I
talk to
tell
you.
y'all about Turtleina. I got to tell y'all about Turtleina.
What is that?
Turtleina. So just to show you just how sick the environment you're in, right? Then on the wind unit, there used to be these two homosexuals. They was in the same cell, and they had a butt baby in the cell with them. They had a turd in a sandwich bread jar, and they called it their butt baby, Turtleina.
What
Bro, I can't make this shit up. It's for
man? So I
I
know right
laugh.
now.
Yeah,
Listen, I'm not gonna say what prison it is right now, but I know there is a man that currently now shits in his peanut butter jars and saves them under his bed. I don't know why. And the other inmates can't stand it. They hate it, and not nobody's doing nothing about it. Dude's like six. They said he's like 6'8", like Zeus. Basically, their decision, what they're gonna have to do is either let him store his doo-doo in peanut butter jars in an open dorm or kill the man. Or kill him. And so far,
Wow.
nobody has said it's worth killing him yet. They're just, he's now storing doo-doo in jars under his bed. Like, this is the shit he's talking about, right? You're literally
And
entering
they'll let
mental
him do it
patients.
instead of taking him to a site. You know,
Oh, yeah,
they'll let
of
him.
course.
But back in the day, I'd watch them Thorazine them, man. They'd have that slob running down their mouth because
That,
if they start doing stuff like that, they give them a pill. They send them to another planet.
that Thorazine shuffle, huh?
Yeah, yeah. They poop.
I don't
You're
even think
done
they do
then.
that no more.
Really?
Mm-mm. I
Yeah.
don't, man. I don't remember nobody taking Thorazine like that. I don't remember sedating nobody anymore. Nothing, man. There's nothing like that. You're literally. So somebody told me though that they're giving like Zoloft and shit like that. Like they actually have some mental medications in there now. When they didn't back in the day, it was real limited, man. It was horrible. So prison. This is the thing too, B. The people that a lot of the prison advocates and people that are doing shit, majority of them that I notice are new to the prison environment, prison lifestyle, because their loved one hasn't been there that long, right? They're all gun ho into prison advocacy, so they don't know the stories of how it was in the building tender days, how it was in the 80s when everybody was getting slaughtered every day, how it was in the 90s when people were getting hurt, raped, and Turtolinas going on and all this crazy ass shit. All the way to when I was in there, shit is probably still going on. So prison in Texas has slowly improved. It takes a decade at a time for shit to get a little bit better. There was a time when we thought we would never see a payphone on the wall in a Texas prison, right? Like that's what
Yeah.
I was kind of saying too. Like when reality set in, bro. When I realized, man, I'm down here, I can't call nobody. I'm
Yeah.
in like
You
North
had to put in an
Texas.
I-60. You had to put in an I-60, and they would let you make a call, maybe. You know,
If you didn't have any
maybe
cases, you stayed out of
nothing.
trouble for
Yeah.
90 days, and they
I
had
made two
time.
phone calls. There's always some shit that kept you from getting a phone call, man.
Yeah, they just be busy. So they just wouldn't do it sometimes. You know what I mean? So nowadays, they're dealing with so much short staff. That's why I was telling you, you're not getting recreation and all that. But
Yeah.
it was important for me. I wanted to do this video with somebody that could tell it like it really went. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm not trying to minimize anything anybody's going through right now. There's people still going through the struggle. I promise you. Even
Yeah.
with a tablet, it don't matter. People getting
Yeah.
extorted, they're getting raped, they're getting robbed. Now the struggle even got worse because we got K2 in the prisons where these dudes are. So this K2 is like, it's like PCP, acid, and heroin all rolled in one. If you can
Oh,
imagine that,
wow.
right? I know
Yeah.
they'll wild out
Not in
like they're on
there.
peace. I know. Listen, they're wild out like they're on PCP and acid. Then the next thing they pass out, and they're just whoop. And when they're passed out, you could stick a broom up their butt, and they wouldn't even know. You know what I mean? But they're in there doing it. But I believe so. It's pretty much understood by them convicts that if somebody's tripped out, leave him alone. He's not just because he's asleep on the floor. Don't make him not a real person. You know what I'm saying? Don't mean he don't got his. But you do that too many times, then guess what? They're gonna start losing their respect for you. Like, damn, how many
Yeah.
times do we gotta
But
tell
you got
people to
no
leave
self
you alone?
control. If you
Right.
got no self control, you'll hurt somebody else
So
haphazardly.
that's the right deal. That's it right there. The lack of self control will make them lose respect for you because you got men in there with
Correct.
extreme self control. So, man, they're dealing with a lot of shit right now. Right?
And
It's
they're just
crazy.
living for what, like you say in Rec. Man, you you just didn't fuck off Rec. If you're just gonna kick off something that's bad enough to get Rec messed off for a few days, it better be something
Start
serious, or
working,
you
huh?
gonna have problem with many people that's what they live for, was go out there and hit them weights every day or play handball or whatever they did, man. That's the only thing they had in their life, you know.
I know. I see. So
And
I
you
had a few
people
homies that
bumble around,
it's a
bumble around not on what they're doing, and they're getting wrecked.
Now, I had a few homies, when you say live for rec, now that you really said that, man, these dudes, so they were basketball pros and they would go out there and gamble and do all this. And, man, they would get on that rec yard, though. Let me tell you something. When you would watch them men out there playing handball, playing whatever they're doing, basketball, they were free for a minute. You know it
Yeah,
in their mind, they was free for a minute, man. That was just having fun like when you was a little kid back in the day. That's why that's important. So that's one of
as
the
close as they
things.
can get. Yeah,
That's so Bro, they're right now, and I salute these women, and I appreciate the hell out of them, all of them that are doing this federal lawsuit right now to get the air conditions in prisons, right? But I tell them, and I've told everybody, if there was something I could change in a Texas prison, it would be the better food and guaranteed recreation. We
Yeah,
can deal with that heat because it's, guess what, winter, spring, and fall. We can deal with it. You know what I'm saying? We'll
yeah.
deal with these 3 months to actually eat good, to be able to go outside on a regular schedule. That's what the hell these men need. That air
It
conditioning
ain't.
situation.
It
So
ain't
listen,
just air conditioning. I broke ice in the toilet on K Wing on Ferguson unit. Toilet
that too.
froze.
That
And
too. My brother was
icicles in
on
the
Bill
shower on
Clemens.
Ferguson unit.
Listen, when my brother was on Bill Clemens, man, they put my brother on snow shoveling squad. He's from Lamarck, Texas. It's only snowed here for like 10 minutes one time in my life. You know what I'm saying? That's it, dog. 10 minutes one time in my life. They put him up there in that little green windbreaker. That's all you get is some thermal
Yeah.
underwear and a green windbreaker. And you got to go out there and shovel snow for these motherfuckers. That's the type of life you don't want. You know what I mean? Look what he said, breaking ice in his toilet.
Hey, hey. And they would run you in the shower. There'd be 80, 90, 100 people in the shower. And they would holler, get out the shower. And if you didn't line up butt naked waiting to get in there, they would open up the big double doors. You come in off the back dock shower
And let
and
that
let that
air in,
cold
huh?
air blow on your naked ass. Wet
I
naked
know.
ass.
So on Beto, in the wintertime, they would be dicks running the shower. You know, the law stands right there with the little head, and he controls the temperature and shit. You go in the wintertime, and of course the water's cold, cause they don't want you
Yeah,
staying in there very long. They don't
that's
want you
right. In and
to
out.
them.
In and out.
To them,
In and
yeah,
out.
to them, showers is dangerous to them, so they don't want you in there very long, cause a lot of
Yeah.
shit can go down and weird shit goes on and stuff like that. Hey, gay shit might go on in there, like crazy stuff might go on in this place, right? So you don't even
Yeah.
really want to stay in the shower very long. You know, there was men
I
that
didn't
were
wash my
scared to
head.
go.
I didn't want to wash my face where I couldn't see. So
Right,
I
that's
wouldn't
crazy
wash.
too,
I'd wash my head in the cell.
bro. There was men that was scared to go to the shower. They would just wash everything in the cell.
Yeah, I
You remember
seen it.
that?
Yeah,
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 man. Listen, it's just not the life nobody wants, man. Y'all, we just stay the fuck out of there, man. Let's work these jobs. I swear to
amen,
God, listen, these jobs
amen.
out here ain't that bad, man. Hey, if you got to live in a one bedroom apartment, it's not a shame. I don't drive no nice new fancy car. I save my money
And
and spend it on
me
my
either.
daughter. You know what I mean? I don't worry about it. So when I was selling dope and
Man,
living
be a
that
father
life,
to your babies, man. That's what some
yeah,
bitch needs to do. Be a father to your babies. Raise a
yeah, that's all I'm
responsible
trying to
young
do.
child.
So men, we need to break this cycle, man, and we have to be fathers to these kids so they don't end up in these places. Period. And we can't stop at a certain age. We got to be there for them forever, man. So since I've been a single dad, and I told you this, I started back working out, back lifting weights, trying to be more healthy. I stopped killing myself with them stupid ass power drinks. So let me tell you, nobody has noticed, but I haven't smoked in a video in 3 years. Remember, I used to chain smoke in them
And
goddamn
I'm burning
videos?
them up. I'm burning them. I can't get. Yeah,
Bro, I used to smoke Prince Albert vanilla
yeah,
after. A lot of that came from though when I first started doing these videos. That shit was nerve wracking. Like I
yeah.
didn't know how to think about. Man, this might get 100,000 people watching this motherfucker eventually. It was stressful. So, but when I became a single dad, I said, man, I gotta live for this baby. I gotta live for this baby, man. I'm able now to put pride to the side on a lot of things that I never could do before.
Yeah.
I still have a temper, I'm still me. I haven't just totally turned into a new person, but I've learned self control. Be like you said. Now, my self control level, I've always thought was high, but as a grown man, it's gotten a lot better, and I'm working on that. You know what I mean? And I think that'll be the main thing I teach my daughter in life is we have to have some self control. And also, when we have self control, you know what that means? That means we're not the crash dummy and there's no key in our back, right? We're controlling that.
Yeah, exactly right. Exactly right. It prepared me for a lot of things out here that I never knew that it was preparing me for, and and I would never. I mean, to wish against what I went through, be wish against myself. Uh, and I use it today to make people smile. Make people laugh. My ability to communicate with different people in there pays off today, where I can go into an office and make make people feel light and friendly. You know.
Yeah, no, man. Listen, you're a pretty stand up dude, man. I see that already. You know what I'm saying? So you got yourself figured out. I'll put it like that, and that's a good thing, man. And that's what keeps us out of trouble too. You
Well,
know
it
what I
was a
mean?
train wreck for a while. I mean, we
I
all.
know it.
I mean,
Me too.
yeah, and
Me
there ain't
too.
nothing wrong with admitting it was a train wreck.
I didn't get
Uh,
myself together. Listen, man. I didn't. So I didn't all the way get myself together till about 40. You know what I mean? And check
Yeah,
this out. I didn't all the way get myself together till I was about 40, right? You said math. Check this out. I'm 44 right now. I've been doing YouTube for 5 years. And I'm here to tell you, I probably only had myself together for 3 of those. You know what I mean? I wasn't out here wilding out or doing nothing, but I wasn't where I needed to be mentally. You know what
yeah,
I
yeah.
mean? It
Wasn't at
took,
your best.
no, not at my best, not at all. So
Oh,
hopefully, neither are you or me. We keep getting better. You know what I mean? You
I,
told me you love to learn.
I'm
You never
glad.
stop. I'm the same way.
I'm
Man, I
still in. I
appreciate you.
mean, that's how pay my bills. I'm in technology. I mean,
I know it.
I that's what I do for a living,
Yeah.
and
So listen.
I don't get paid the most, but I don't have any drama, and yeah, I made a way so I can make earn out here. And they
That's what you
still,
got to do.
I got that X on my back, and the first time they see that record, I get more doors slammed on me than not. I mean, than open. But the good Lord has opened the ones I needed.
Well, I do too. Look what I told you earlier, man. I got a CDL, right? I've had this
Yeah,
thing I've had it for a long time. I actually went to prison with a CDL and all this other shit. And I probably never in my life will work for what people would call a higher level company or whatever. But you know what? This is what you're saying. God actually opened the door for me on accident for this last job. I'm working for a man that I became friends with. I like him. He takes care of me. Man, it's like a beautiful thing for a felon that I've actually been able to, and I've been able to do that multiple times. Be like, I
yeah.
went into the job before this. I talked to the guy. He realized I was only out 3 days. That means I haven't drove a truck in years, right? I had to get out and in the halfway house. Well, I've been out the halfway house 3 days, so in the halfway house, I had to go upgrade my license again and get it all back. But after talking to the man, he said, "Son, I could never tell you was ever even in prison. You know your trucking shit. You know your roll off shit."
Yeah.
He said, "I ain't got no problem hiring you, man." But you know what he told me? He said, "Please don't make me regret it." He said, "I'm gonna give you a
Ready.
chance,
Yeah.
man. I'm gonna give you a chance." I said, "Son,
Every person that's given me a chance, I've told them to their face, thank you. I know what you've done, and I'm always indebted to you for it.
yeah." And I still shout out to Allen over there in Hampshire, Texas. If anybody in Hampshire, that little city
Hampshire.
knows
Where the
Allen,
hell is it?
man,
There's
it's like
Hampshire.
between it's south of Beaumont, in the middle of nowhere. He's got a big, nice ass
Yeah.
house with the big pond out there. I done been to his house. Listen, shout out to him out there if y'all know it, because and everybody else, every other man that gave me a chance, knowing I got an aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, I got a retaliation on a
Yeah.
witness, I got 2 gun cases. You know what I mean? All this shit. Even then, I used to have permanent gold teeth, right, and still get a job. And it comes down to, though, if you want to succeed out here, man, you have to find something that
Some
people
way,
need you
somehow.
for. But you got to look into shit where people are going to need people, right? Don't try to pick your fucking career in your path where you know you're going to be able to get a job. Sometimes you got to give up a fucking dream, man. Hey, you ain't going to be a doctor no more if you got a dope case. You can't prescribe
Yeah.
medicine. You're not going to be realistic. You know what I'm saying? Just be realistic, and it's not that hard out here, man. You don't have to. So here's my best advice, and I bet you don't do this. I hope you don't. When you walk into a place and you're doing an interview, never mention prison. Don't say nothing about I've been to prison before, I just got out. If that man doesn't fucking ask you, you better not bring it up. And another
Don't bring
thing,
it up.
too many ex-cons go up and meet people, and within 10 minutes in the conversation, they're talking
They
about
tell
how
me.
they got out of prison. What the fuck is that about? So when you're in prison, you don't tell your goddamn business if you got a brain. Why the fuck would you reverse it, come out to the free world, and start telling your
Especially if you
business.
got an
Anybody notice that?
aggravated case. Especially if you got an aggravated case, because the first thing free world people are gonna think, they're gonna think the worst, man.
Yeah.
It's
So
just a
when
natural
they think the
response.
worst, but here's the deal. You said you was selling dope. It was a dope deal, and he drove his. You drew his. Hey, every time I went, I was fucking guilty. Like they have a small right to. I mean, that was us at one time, right? We did do that. You
Yeah,
was guilty. You said
yeah,
it. I was guilty. Every
guilty.
goddamn
Yeah,
time, I was guilty.
yeah.
So when these men take these chances on us, or women that hire us, and after we
My
was guilty, we did our time. Yeah, they're doing us a favor, man.
here's my only issue with that, and this is my last round when I was unemployed. I was unemployed for about a year, and thank God everything worked out. But you know, I'm being judged, and I had to deal with this, man. It put me in a dark place. I'm being judged by men who I've I've been in the strategic oil reserve working. I've been put the copy machines in the DEA office. I've been at Mayor Bob Lanier's house. I've taught people's kids how to competitive shoot. I've done all this stuff over my time out, you know, and I'm live my time down. But I get judged on a job by men who are not my equals and who will clap and raise all kind of accolades for Snoop Dogg or Dr. Dre, who were doing the same thing I was doing back in the day, and now Snoop Dogg's hanging out with Martha Stewart. What's up with
No
that?
shit, huh? Man, listen, I tell you what's up with it. Martha Stewart is just as much criminal as we are. You know what I'm saying? Martha Stewart is look at Puff Daddy right now. So
Oh yeah,
money and all that make them worse, right? Martha Stewart's
yeah.
probably more gangster than me and you wrapped in together, dog. That's what's going on with it. You know what I mean? Straight up. But listen, man, I'm gonna
Yeah.
close this, bro. We've been going
All
forever,
right.
man. And
Yeah, I love it, man.
so let me give a
Thank you,
little
Tim.
disclaimer though, right? Let me
Thanks.
give a little disclaimer.
Okay.
This man right here, tell him what your YouTube name is where you comment all the time.
Oh, Heimdall blows.
If y'all
Is that what you're
recognize
talking?
that name from everybody that's in the comments all the time, that's him right there. And
Oh, yeah.
literally,
That goes back. I still got the original email, that Hotmail I sent you. I made that in the prison.
oh,
That's
I
my.
believe it.
I've had that.
Hotmail's old as hell. I can't
Yeah,
believe it
yeah.
still
That's
exists.
it. Still works, and I've had it
Yeah,
that
yeah.
long. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm gonna close this out, man. Y'all
All
double
right.
tap the
Thank you,
screen, hit the
brother.
thumbs up, and I don't go nowhere. No, don't go nowhere because I want to holler
Oh.
at you before it's over.
Oh,
So,
okay. Hit the like.
everybody, yeah, everybody, we appreciate y'all. This is not the life you want. This one is a little different than normal. He probably shocked y'all when he said oldness and
Oh,
white
hey,
supremacists and all
I
that
got to
shit.
throw this out there real quick. I know y'all can tell by my accent that I ain't from Texas. So if you want to see how I was raised up like swamp people, alligator hunting and eating frogs and all that. You go to Camp Paradise Outdoors and you can see it's on YouTube. Camp Paradise
Okay,
Outdoors. You can see how I grew up.
and that's him. So look what I was gonna say though. You probably shocked everybody when you said oldness, white supremacists, and all this shit, and they're like, "Whoa, whoa, wait up, Tim's a white crip." But let me tell you something. They bet everybody. Now hold on, listen. So that was in the past, but everybody that's going to prison, everybody that's living like that, you better be a black man. Better be prepared to probably be friends one day with a guy with a swastika on him. You feel me? Some guy that
Bro.
doesn't like white people ever in his life, black dude will probably have a couple white people he likes. Like what I'm saying is, it's a melting pot. You're gonna have to deal with every
Yeah.
type of
Once
people
you
in this world.
once you establish yourself as being somebody reputable and can be trusted, then you can interact with whoever you need to interact
Exactly.
with.
A regular. That's what they call
They
it.
don't
Once you
want no
become
chumps.
regular,
They ain't gonna deal with no chumps. That's how you get something stuck in you.
real true facts, man. So I appreciate this man for coming
Yes.
by, for him giving the real truth, telling it how he sees. He ain't pulling no punches. He said it how it is, and I gotta respect that at all times, right? So much love, y'all. Texas Prison Story
Thank you.
family, salute.